companies who are buying those products, and in most cases, those higher costs are then passed down to you, the consumer, meaning the price of items like gas, food, and electronics, they're all set to rise.
President Trump last night admitting there will be a financial impact on Americans. He says a short-term financial impact. But as you can see, it's already impacting Wall Street right now. The Dow right now down more than 600 points. Right now, yep, around 600 points. All
right, we've got it all covered. We'll start with NBC's Garrett Hake at the White House for us. Garrett, good morning.
Savannah, good morning to you. And look, these tariffs were a key campaign promise of then-candidate Trump, and they're set to go into effect at midnight tonight. Now, the president is already facing blowback internationally and here at home over the tariffs, and also some dramatic steps he's taken to remake the federal government in his image. Overnight, President Trump defending those sweeping new tariffs.
We may have short-term some little pain, and people understand that. But long-term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world.
Mr. Trump imposing 25% tariffs on most imports from Canada and Mexico that could impact everything from oil and lumber to produce and auto parts. He also ordered a 10% tariff on all Chinese goods. Even key Republicans sounding the alarm about the impact to Americans' wallets.
It will drive the cost of everything up. In other words, it'll be paid for by American consumers. Why would you want to get in a fight with your allies over this?
Canada's prime minister warning Americans will feel the pain.
Tariffs against Canada will put your jobs at risk.
While Canadian crowds at sporting events this weekend booed during the U.S. national anthem. It comes as a government purge continues to escalate, including 6 senior leaders at the FBI fired Friday. And the top 2 security officials at the U.S. Agency for International Development were also placed on administrative leave, 5 sources say, after they tried to prevent employees from the Elon Musk-led Department of Government Efficiency from accessing sensitive computer systems. Musk saying overnight that he's in the process of shutting down the agency, which coordinates the U.S.'s overseas humanitarian assistance, adding, the president approves.
I went over it with him, in detail, and he agreed with.
All as his agency may be gaining even more power. The New York Times reporting, according to 5 sources, that some of Musk's team has gained access to the federal payment system. That system sends out money after it's approved by Congress and contains sensitive information from millions of Americans who get federal payments like Social Security checks. Now, just in the last hour, the president posting on social media that he's already spoken to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau once today and intends to do so again later this afternoon. All of it leaving open the possibility that there could be some kind of 11th hour off-ramp here as negotiations continue. Savannah?
All right, Garrett, thank you. Let's turn to NBC's senior business correspondent, Christine Romans. So, okay, Wall Street. I mean, the Dow is maybe the first signal we'll get at how investors, what people think these tariffs mean, and
tariffs lead to trade wars, which hurt economic growth, which hurt profits and raise prices for consumers. That's what Wall Street is telling you. It's a mix that is very negative for the U.S. economy and could have other implications down the road. So the stock market rattled this morning.
So talk about the tariffs. I mean, these are everyday items.
Yep.
If you slap a tariff on another country, explain why it is that would get passed on to a consumer at the grocery store.
Sure. Well, we've seen this before. I mean, President Trump put tariffs on in 2018. That led to higher prices for washing machines, led to higher prices for some agricultural products. It also led to retaliation that hurt American farmers, and taxpayers had to bail them out. But if you just start and look at fresh fruits and vegetables, the U.S. imports 40% of those, right? We import meat, gas, cars. The North American auto, it's so intricate, the parts that are going back and forth across borders. By the way, rules that were written by Donald Trump in his first administration that he now wants to put tariffs on those things. Toys, clothing, lumber, beer and spirits, all of those things, when they come to a U.S. port of entry, a customs official will hand the importer a bill for either 10 or 25%, depending on what the item is, and that bill has to be paid on the spot, and it's paid for by the U.S. company importing. And what do? They
pass it on to us.
Right. They're not going to just out of the goodness of their heart absorb all of that. They're going to pass some of it or all of it on to consumers. So you'll see higher prices pretty soon, I think.
So, Christine, we're already starting to see some retaliatory tariffs as well. But Canada already basically saying, we're taking your booze off the shelf.
Yeah, and you've already seen that happening overnight. Another, like $155 billion worth of products the Canadian government is going to retaliate. And we have to see which products those are and what that means for local governments and local factories that all of a sudden they don't have an important next door neighbor who's buying their goods. I think it's really important to mention here that these are allies. The U.S., Canada, and Mexico are allies. They have a North American production and trading that is just really, the rest of the world looks at it in awe, would like to replicate that. And now Donald Trump is going basically to trade war with his two neighbors.
So a lot of people are scratching their heads about this. I mean, some people, I heard an official from Canada say that this is an incredible act of self-harm, self-mutilation to the U.S., doing something to itself. There has to be a rationale. So what is Donald Trump's reason for doing this?
And the Wall Street Journal called it the dumbest trade war of all trade wars. You know, he has first said that he wanted to have production in the U.S. That was the rationale for the first trade wars in 2018. Now he's saying this is about fentanyl and illegal immigration. These countries aren't doing enough on fentanyl and illegal. So this is a drug war that he is waging. So there have been sort of shifting rationale for what it is. What we know is trade wars and tariffs slow economic growth, and they raise prices. And so that is what I think American consumers are now on the front lines of this trade war. And we'll wait to see what Trump is asking for from America's neighbors and strategic, competitors like China. But certainly he is rewriting the rules of trade that, by the way, have helped raise living standards in the United States for the past 40 years.
Well, we're going to see what develops today. Already the president talking to Justin Trudeau of Canada, and we can see at the bottom of our screen the Dow already in free fall right now. We'll continue to watch that. But Christine, thank you very much.
Thank you, Kristen.